Hi, it's Angie, and welcome to my kitchen. All right, so if you don't know, what I'm doing is I am going through recipes in this book, just baking homemade, no-knead artisan yeast bread, cooking for beginners. Start your own bakery with this bread making Bible. So I thought I would use this book because it says start your own bakery. Now, I don't have a background in baking. I don't have a background at all in any kind of culinary arts. I haven't studied it other than cooking occasionally in my kitchen. But I thought I would use this book to do some recipes, see if they were feasible to do, they were easy, and if I can make a good loaf of bread following this. I chose this one, as I said, because of the name, also because it doesn't have a lot of reading ahead of making the recipes, and I'm just trying to make bread. I just want to dive in and get started, get my hands dirty. So join me, we're gonna do this together. So I've already cut up some page numbers in here, and I'm just gonna pick at random the recipe for today. Give me 1 second because my dog's going crazy over there. All right, so I've already cut up all of the pages that have ingredients that I can make so that I don't have to purchase any additional ingredients. I cut them up and put them in this container here so that we can select them at random. So let me go ahead and just pick a page. All right. All right, so we're going to do page 58. And I haven't read any of these recipes ahead of time, so there's literally no preparation um, in advance. So I'm just going to go through the pages and see page, oh, I passed it, page 58. So what do we got? Nope, that's not it. This one, it says garlic and Parmesan bread. Look at that loaf of bread there. All right, hopefully ours resembles it. And so it says it's going to take an hour and 15 minutes, 25 minutes to cook, 1 hour and 40 minutes total time, and 8 servings. So it's going to take an hour and 40 minutes. So the first thing I need to do is gather all of the ingredients. Now we are going to be using 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon, wow, 1 tablespoon of yeast, active dry yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, um, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, and 1 cup of warmed water, and 1/3 a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. So I'm just going to gather the ingredients and then come back here. I'll see you guys here. Okay, so I have all of my ingredients here gathered. I don't have them measured out because I thought I'd do it on the screen with you. I just use my dough whisk here. I love seeing how the active yeast starts to bubble when it's sitting in there. And I'm honestly, I kind of want to sit it a little longer just because it is asking me to put in the garlic and salt. Um, but you know what? It is 1 tablespoon of yeast, so I'm sure they probably did think about the fact that we're adding the garlic and yeast because I have heard that salt actually um, makes it a little more difficult for the yeast to rise. Um, I'm not sure or not. Maybe I'll experiment in the future. Do the same recipe, one with yeast. I'm sorry, one with salt afterwards, one with salt before. She's asking for it to be incorporated now. So I'm just going to follow the instructions. I read one article sometimes and I think I know everything. Um, and I have no credentials. So I'm adding 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of kosher salt. Okay, and then I'm going to add, oh my God, I messed up. All right, I'm just gonna toss this and start all over because it was literally supposed to be 3 teaspoons of minced garlic and 1 teaspoon of garlic salt. So I'm gonna start all over. So we're doing 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, and I am using pre-minced garlic instead of mincing my own. And I didn't let it sit this time, but you know what? I'm trying to speed through this. Okay, I feel like I keep making this face frequently, so I'm trying to work on not pressing my lips, you know? It's I feel like it's just not a very attractive look for you guys. All right, so there goes my minced garlic. I'm going to get a clean teaspoon for the salt. I like to keep my measuring cups right here accessible because I feel like when they are in my drawer with all of the other ingredients, other utensils, I get confused. So I added the salt. All right, so we have, and then stir it in. So I'm stirring, stir. Okay, so in the recipe, it has everything in cups and tablespoons, teaspoons, those units. And I'm used to working with grams. I feel like, especially for making bread, it's a lot more precise when you use grams. And so I did weigh out the water. And the reason I did this was because I wanted to get the hydration percentage of this bread. So, okay, so we're going to put 240 grams of flour, which is the typical weight of 2 cups of flour. So I'm using a brand new fresh bag of flour. We're just going to see how many recipes we can make with this. Ooh, exactly 240. I thought I was going to get a little over heavy with it, but I got exactly the right amount. Okay, and so it says mix. I wanted to get the hydration amount because I just feel like these have been a high hydration dough, and so I'm just curious to see um, how much, what's the percentage of hydration? Because what I've seen is that you calculate the amount of water, so you multiply the amount of water by the amount of flour. So it seems that we have, I said it's 220 grams of water. multiplied by 240 grams of flour. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? How much more water weighs than flour, even though I'm putting in volume double the size. So I'm just going to ask Alexa to do the calculation for me. Alexa, can you multiply 220 by 240? 'I'm sorry, actually, I was supposed to divide. So, Alexa, can you divide 220 by 240? 9967. Oh, 9167. So the percentage of hydration is 91.2, roughly. 91.9167. So I'm just going to round it up. It's about 92% hydration, which is a pretty high hydration dough. All right, so I'm done mixing it. It is still what she is asking for, which is a sticky dough. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with the lid and and then let it rest for 1 hour. So I'm going to take it over there and let it rest for 1 hour. Okay, so I started putting away all of the ingredients, and then I noticed that I still have some cheese sitting on the counter that I haven't incorporated into it. So I'm going to do that now. Right, it's 1/3. I'm using pre-grated cheese normally. I grate my own cheese, but honestly, I didn't feel like grating my cheese today. It's just so much work to grate cheese sometimes, especially to get it this finely. I want to buy an electric cheese grater. I'd bought in one of those rotary cheese graters that I've seen that they sell at restaurants. What is this Italian restaurant? I can't think of the name right now. The one with unlimited soups and salads. I, I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember. It's gonna kill me later when I upload this because I'm gonna remember the name. But I've seen that they sell them. But I bought one instead of going to the actual place on Amazon, and it broke. I had to return it because it broke. And so, and and I've been meaning to buy a new one, and I just haven't. All right, so the dough has come together. I have incorporated the cheese. I'm going to cover it and I'm going to let it sit and I will be back. I am back. My dough has risen. It has risen double in size. It is looking so good. Look at that. You can actually see it. It's holding more of its shape as opposed to the previous ones we've made that have been a little bit more pancake batter consistency. I feel like I keep saying that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dust, yeah, that's flour. I'm going to dust my surface with flour. As it states in the recipe book, I have the oven preheated to 375 degrees. So what I'm going to do, it says to pour this guy in here. Look at all those little air pockets in there. It smells good too. Garlic and Parmesan. This spread is going to taste so good. I mean, I think it's going to taste good. I haven't had it, so obviously I don't know. But, if I slice it up and I make it into a sandwich, I think it'll be good. All right, so it says shape the dough. Use a dough scraper or spatula or a large knife. And fold the sides of the dough until it roughly resembles a disc. So right now it's kind of long word. I'm going to, instead of using the the bowl scraper, I'm just going to use my hands. I'm going to wet them, and I'm just going to going to keep that there just to lift it. Take the ends and fold it in and do the same thing on the sides. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it over here, over here. Let me just want to bring it in as taut as possible. And perfect. It is a little bit wet, but I'm going to keep shaping it until it doesn't really stick to the counter as much, and it comes in taut, taut, taut. So it's tight. I want it to be tight. Okay. Man, it is sticky. All right. I think that looks good. Let me just bring in this flour here. All right, let me just wipe this dough off my hands in the sink. All right. Let me get some parchment paper. Now the recipe says take a large piece of parchment paper. Use the dough scraper to flip the dough onto the center of the sheet, the seam side down, and then gently shape the dough into a slight oval, round or oval shape. It doesn't say to put it on the sheet. Oh, it says, when the oven has heated, use the parchment sheet to place the dough on a baking sheet and then bake for 25 minutes until the top turns a golden brown. Okay, so it seems like it doesn't want for us to do the little cut. I think I'm going to still do it anyways, because one, I want to practice doing it, but two, I also want to, I don't know, based off of that one that looked like a pita bread that didn't have a cut. I think I want to cut it just so that it doesn't do that. I know that the dough creates air and it has to escape from somewhere, so I want it to escape through that cut. So I'm just grabbing a small baking sheet to put the dough in. So I'm going to put this here. Using the water from the bowl scraper to, let me just tighten you up again. I want it to be nice and tight because there's going to be some movement in this. So I'm taking my bench scraper and flipping it upside down. Okay. I'm going to take my bread scraper and just tuck it in. And I like to do it in a like circular motion so that it kind of releases and stays in. I feel like when I just tuck and pull outwards, it follows it. So like when I go like that, you see it doesn't make a circle, versus when I do it like this, it like stays on the inside. All right, I am going to slice a little line here so that the air can escape. The instructions say to use a serrated one. You know what? I'm going to use a serrated one. Let's use a serrated knife. And I'm just going to Okay, I cut it a few times. Hopefully that works, and we're just gonna throw this guy into the oven for 25 minutes. So the bread seems like it's ready now. It looks like it's a nice golden brown, so I'm going to pull it out of the oven. I know the recipe indicated for 25 minutes. It's been a little over 25 minutes, but I wanted it to get a nice golden brown, so I had it sitting in the oven. So it seems like it's ready, so I'm just going to pull it out. All right, this is it. I didn't put a trivet down, but this is our loaf. Let me just turn off this oven. Okay. So this is our loaf. If you can see that cut that I made, um, didn't seem to work because it doesn't have a nice cut. Maybe I cut it too deep and it just spread all over, but it doesn't really have a shape. What I am noticing with the recipes in this book is that the dough doesn't have um, a nice smooth surface. It's kind of rough. It gives it a little rustic look. I'm not particularly a fan of how that looks, just because I feel like I like a nice smooth surface on the dough. Um, this looks like it was rushed and put together. So we'll make a few more, and maybe I might get another cookbook and see how that works. Maybe something with a little more technique. I'm not sure yet. But I mean, it does smell good. Um, and so I am optimistic about it tasting good. We'll see. But thank you so much for joining me in my bake sesh.